Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ask the Professor, where we respond to your questions on current events, on historical trends, on political philosophy, on all those things that affect our attempt to construct a good society together.
With or without Donald Trump. Here's a question from Andre, who sent a very good article about a professor in America who has predicted correctly the outcome of the presidential elections for 30 years, who says that this year, according to his calculations, Donald Trump is going to win. And he's asking what you think of that.
Well, first of all, I shall just pause for a moment in horror at the prospect of Donald Trump's victory. I would do the same thing if the prospect were Hillary Clinton, I hasten to assure you. But the curious thing is I had a look at this professor and his methods, and I'm very impressed by them. You talk about calculations, but it's not something highly mathematical. Rather, he's identified 13 key things that have tended to determine the outcome of elections, from has there been a foreign policy disaster on the incumbent's watch to the advantage that having your own party in the White House tends to give a contender, to what's happened in the off-year congressional elections. And when you run through all these things, he's found that if you have more than 5 or 6 of these go where the answer is yes, then the challenger is likely to win. And they run through what's happened on Barack Obama's watch, and they come up with the fact that, yeah, there are 5 or 6 yeses here. And at least in some discussions of this that I've seen, I thought they were answering the questions in a way that was tilted in favor of the Democrats. For instance, yeah, oddly enough, would journalists ever do this? That there hadn't been a major foreign policy disaster in Obama's watch. Now, it's true they didn't have the Vietnam War, but if you look at what happened in Syria, and arguably the deal with Iran, if you look at relations with Russia, including the annexation of Crimea and Ukraine, you
Those
look at
terrorist attacks in Europe?
Yeah, there's been so much wrong that it adds up to a fairly major disaster. Is it on the level of, say, the Iranian Revolution in the Carter years? Maybe not quite, but you put all this stuff together, and one of the reasons that I'm impressed by this is that I have struggled to understand why Donald Trump is a contender. And again, I hold no brief for Hillary Clinton, or if I did, it would be a prosecutor's brief. I seriously believe that this woman should face criminal charges, including for negligent handling of highly classified material, which is clearly a felony. But I don't understand why people do not perceive that Donald Trump is not ready to be president. He just has no understanding of the issues. None whatsoever. He reads a headline, he boils over. He's like a Twitter troll. And
what do you mean, like a Twitter
let
troll?
Me, but I don't want to go on too far about this. I just want to make clear my feelings. I don't understand Trump's success, and yet here he is, 2 points behind Hillary Clinton in the polls. I mean, the Electoral College math is still a little tricky. But this article is really worth looking at, this professor's method, because it gives a rational explanation for a phenomenon which I don't find rational. I want to make sure that I'm being even-handed here, Bob. It is not, in my view, rational that the Democrats should have nominated Hillary Clinton. But the curious thing is when you look at this guy's assessment, you find that it doesn't matter all that much. You know, did they nominate Hillary Clinton like fools is not one of the questions. So this is very interesting, and it also, as a historian, I'm pleased to find that there are discernible historical trends. It's not a mathematical science, but there are nevertheless patterns. We study history as a guide to the future partly because we have nothing better. It's been said that, life is like running backward through a field trying to guess from you're now looking at what might be on the other side of you. And it doesn't work very well because trees don't follow reliable patterns. There are holes, all that stuff. History is like that too, but it's all we've got. So you look at this professor's article and you say to yourself, you know what? Maybe I better practice saying the words President Donald Trump.
Really?
Yeah, President. But then I choke on President Hillary Clinton as well. So, how bad could it get?
we have a problem. All right, maybe we'll have that one for next Ask the Professor. Thanks. Folks, if you want to play along, the URL on your screen will take you to a page where everything is explained if you want to ask your question of the professor. Thanks, and see you next time.